Today is Saturday, November 29th. After the holiday break, we want to talk about something a bit more lighthearted and personal than usual. It's all focused around one question. Are you happy? My guest today is Atdhe Trepca, who spent years asking perfect strangers on the street that very question. Are you happy? TikTok videos of his conversations went viral, getting millions of views a month, and he's put them all together for a documentary. His video production company, Happy Productions, has also gone on to help nonprofits use the power of storytelling to grow on social media and expand their donor base. Today, he'll explain the patterns that emerged when people started getting honest about happiness, and he shares how the viral series changed his own life. And yes, we ask each other to answer, are you happy? Welcome to the Newsworthy Special Edition Saturday, when we sit down with a different expert or celebrity every Saturday to talk about something in the news. Don't forget to tune in every Monday through Friday for our regular episodes, where we provide all the day's news in 10 minutes. I'm Erica Mandy. It's now time for today's Special Edition Saturday. Atdhe Trepca, thank you so much for joining us here on the Newsworthy.
Thank you so much for having me.
So first, what made you want to do this documentary, and what did you expect starting out?
As a filmmaker, I was looking for a story that would move people, that would inspire people. I ended up quitting my job. I was working at one of the film studios in LA, and I packed my car, canceled my lease, and started driving across the country.
What were you expecting this experience to be? And then did that align with how it actually went?
The thesis was, what would happen if I just set out and started talking to random strangers and let them guide where the film went? I would literally ask them, where do you think I should go next? Nothing turned out the way I expected. But the good news is that it ended up being better than anything I could have ever imagined.
It resonated with people.
100%. I think it resonates with people because it's such an important question, but at the same time, it's a question we don't ask ourselves or others enough, if at all. We often are in our own flow, are wrapped up in our own busy lives that we don't ask ourselves if we're truly happy or what would make us happier. Or maybe we're afraid to ask that question. And so when you see that in our film, when you see random people being asked that question, it's very eye-opening. But what was even greater is that the answers that you hear in our film are heart-opening.
Yeah, and it is a pretty personal question to ask total strangers like you were doing. So was it hard to get people to open up, to be truthful right there on the spot? What were some initial reactions you dealt with?
People were open, honestly. I think the challenge was like me getting out of my car and building up the courage to ask someone I've never met this deeply personal question. Once I was able to overcome that, people do want to open up. They do want to talk and share their story.
But the very first person you talk to in this documentary at first says, yeah, I'm happy. And then you kind of like, wait, but are you truly happy? And the answer wasn't so clear cut. Was that something you ran into a lot?
Yeah, because a lot of times, just like when you walk past someone, you might say, hey, how are you? And they might say, good, how are you? And you'll say, good. And it's just this automatic conversation. But what would happen if someone said, wait, but are you actually good? And so I'll often employ that follow-up question. And in the interview that you're referencing, the woman that I was interviewing just pulled down her sunglasses. And she had this massive bruise on her eye. And she tells me, well, actually, no, I'm not happy. I think, what the documentary does for the followers that we have is that maybe they are afraid to ask that question of themselves or of other people. And the film serves as a way to have that introspection and the exploration.
Did you come across some common themes for both unhappiness and happiness?
Yeah. I've traveled to several different countries around the world, and across the board, the root of people's happiness is family. And family doesn't need to be this standard definition of family. It could be a combination of friends and colleagues and partners, but having that support system around you, by and large, from India to Albania to Mexico, and beyond, most people's reason for joy is their support system around them.
I know with Thanksgiving time, we're often thinking about being grateful more than usual. Did any themes about gratitude come up for you during this documentary and as you were talking to people about happiness?
Oh, 100%. And I think one of the biggest lessons that I've learned is a lesson in gratitude. Because the happiest people that I've met, and I've interviewed thousands of people at this point, the happiest people that I met didn't necessarily have the happiest lives, but they chose to be grateful for the silver lining and whatever did happen in their life. They chose to take these things that have happened to them and purposefully find the good and everything that happens. And it's almost like a muscle that you work on and you get better and better at over time.
Was there anything else that really stuck with you through this process that maybe changed how you think about happiness yourself?
I've definitely embarked on my own happiness journey throughout this process. And I didn't think I was on it, but over the past couple of years, I'm happy to say that I have been able to build that muscle of gratitude. The reality is that everything that happens in your life has both a good consequence and a bad consequence. Oftentimes, it's a lot easier to look at the negative. It's a lot easier to see, I would say, like the biggest sort of learning lesson I had was figuring out how to build that muscle up to the point that I'm just automatically focusing on the positive and not letting this negative event damage me or, I guess, take over my emotions.
Let me ask you the question that you ask everyone. Are you happy? Still ahead, our guest answers that question himself, and he asks me too. Plus, how to build the gratitude muscle and why letting go sometimes brings the very thing you want most. That and more after this quick break for our sponsors. This episode of The Newsworthy is brought to you by Fatty 15. I've become more aware of how I feel these days, my energy, my sleep, my overall wellness, and I love exploring things that support long-term health in a meaningful science-backed way. That's why I'm excited to tell you about Fatty 15. Fatty 15 is built around C15, the first essential fatty acid discovered in over 90 years, a breakthrough for aging and longevity. It was originally identified by Dr. Stephanie Van Watson while working with the U.S. Navy to help aging dolphins stay healthier longer. And now that research is helping humans, too. Based on more than 100 studies, C15 strengthens our cells, and when our cells stay strong, we stay strong. People who take it report deeper sleep, smoother moving joints, improved metabolic and heart health, and even healthier skin, hair, and nails. It's also vegan and comes in a beautiful reusable glass jar with convenient refill packs. I especially appreciate that it offers benefits similar to fish oil without that fishy taste. Fatty 15 is on a mission to optimize your C15 levels to help you live healthier, longer. You can get an additional 15% off their 90-day subscription starter kit by going to fatty15.com/newsworthy and using code newsworthy at checkout. The Newsworthy is also brought to you by Honeylove. Around the holidays, it feels like every day calls for a different outfit. Work events, family dinners, travel, parties. And what I've learned is that the right foundation makes all the difference. That's why I reach for Honeylove. I first tried their shapewear before a special event, honestly expecting it to feel tight or restrictive, but I was pleasantly surprised. It was comfortable, supportive, and stayed put all night, so no rolling down, no tugging, no I can't wait to get home and change moment. Now it's the piece I trust most for anything dressy. And as we head into the holiday season, Honeylove has become my go-to for feeling confident in whatever I'm wearing. Their other essentials are great too, whether you're dressing up or just wearing a cozy sweater. Treat yourself or someone you love to Honeylove this holiday season. And right now, you can save 20% at honeylove.com/newsworthy. Just use our exclusive link, honeylove.com/newsworthy, to grab your discount. After you order, they'll ask where you heard about Honeylove, so please support our show and let them know we sent you. Celebrate the season feeling confident and comfortable with Honeylove. Now back to my conversation with Atdhe Trepca after I just asked him, "Are you happy?" Here's his answer.
Hey, I have to say I'm extremely happy. I have a stressful life, right? I have a really busy job. I have 2 kids under 2. I'm pretty much working all hours of the day. And so it is very stressful, but at the same time, it's literally my dream life. The work that I'm doing is work that I'm singing as I'm doing my job. I'm dancing while I'm making these videos, and my kids are the best thing that ever happened to me. I love my life. I love my wife, and it's all really, really good. So I guess you could see in how I just described my life that it's super stressful, super busy. There's a lot going on. There's never enough time in the day, but it's exactly what I want out of my life.
I'm happy to hear that. And as I was asking myself the question after watching your video and preparing for this.
Are you happy, Erica?
So what came up for me is, yes, I consider myself a happy person overall. I think what I connect with more, and I think you're saying this in other ways, is this idea that I've come across when it comes to parenting that I think can be applied to ourselves as well, but that the goal really shouldn't be happiness per se, that might be setting ourselves up or our kids up for failure if we're constantly just wanting them to be happy. That instead, perhaps the goal should be resilience, find contentment, trust that we can do hard things, because no one is happy 100% of the time. And is that an unrealistic goal? But from what, your explanation of happiness, I think those two things are aligned. But I do think it's interesting when we just think of happiness is the standard, when really it's resilience, gratitude, trust instead. What do you think about that?
Honestly, I think those are much better values to instill than happiness. Like that, it'll get you a lot further. And happiness is optional, right? You don't need to be happy. But I think that we often think that happiness and everlasting happiness is impossible. It's almost like we all agree that life kind of sucks, and maybe you could find some bits of joy in it, but it pretty much sucks. When what I have learned is that it actually doesn't have to be that way. I hope that through our film and through interviews like this, people can start to work on that muscle of gratitude.
Yeah. And I think for me, it's not that life is bad, but it's you can be happy and you're going to have times of feeling different emotions. Yeah. Or as I'm teaching my kids about emotions, it's all emotions are okay. And you can have a big picture happiness about your life, even when every moment isn't perfectly happy.
100%.
Yeah.
I agree.
For anyone listening who might not feel very happy right now, what's one insight or takeaway from the project or from your own experience that might help them think differently about where they are?
I don't know if there's any one thing I can say to someone that's struggling with unhappiness. I'd probably want to listen to them and hear them out. The most general thing that I can share, which I've kind of been touching on, anytime something happens, you are running late for work, your car gets scratched at the parking lot, you lose something, try to stop your mind from going into that autopilot. Oh my God, this sucks. I can't believe this happened. This stuff always happens to me, and this is why I can't have nice things. That your mind is really good at doing that. What I would recommend you do instead is focus on, what is the positive here? Or if there is no positive, then just sort of try. I know this might sound crazy, but try laughing it off.
I wanted to ask you briefly, you let people choose how much to pay to watch the full documentary. Why did you want to do that?
It's a great question. No one's ever asked me that. I don't want to charge anything for the documentary, but I also believe that there are certain things that you should pay for what you like, or else it goes away. I believe in that idea. And so this felt like a good middle ground. Okay, I worked really hard on this. I put my own money into it. There is no outside financing. I would like to not be in the red for the rest of my life on this film. But at the same time, if people want to watch the film and just pay whatever they want, they should feel free to do that. At some point, I'm sure it'll be up for free. I think that's the best of both worlds.
Anything else you want to add, or just a final thought?
If I could give a message to myself when I was just starting out in this journey, or a message to a viewer who is trying to find their voice and trying to get their art out in the world, I would say that the more pressure you put on something to succeed, the more pressure you put on something to be the way you imagine it'll be, the less likely it'll happen. It's like you're pushing this boulder up a hill, and maybe if you try hard enough, you'll get that thing that you want. Is the standard philosophy on getting what you want in this world. You got to push, you got to fight, you got to push that boulder up the hill. It's going to be tough, but you got to keep going and never give up. And it's going to be hard. Keep pushing. What I've learned is the best things actually happen in moments of relief and release. And the thing that you want comes right after all hope is lost. It comes right after you say, like, you know what? Forget it. It's not going to happen. It's over. And then as soon as you let the world meet you halfway, that's when the magic starts to happen. So in short, chill out, relax, do what you got to do, but let the world meet you halfway.
Well, thank you to our guest today. If you want to check out the documentary he put together, we'll link to it in today's episode notes on our website, thenewsworthy.com. Just click episodes and find today's date, and you'll see the link there. A quick note that we feel so grateful for you. Thank you for listening today and every day. You are truly the reason we keep doing The Newsworthy. As always, join us again during the week to catch our 10-minute daily news roundups to stay in the know. We're back to our regular schedule starting Monday with the latest news. For now, we hope you had a wonderful Thanksgiving and wish you a happy rest of the weekend.